She was just a queen until she became a legend. She never imagined that one day she would sit on the throne. Her life before the crown was quiet and simple compared to the heavy responsibilities that were about to fall on her shoulders. She lived within the palace walls, surrounded by tradition, rules, and expectations, but she was never the one making decisions. That role belonged to others, stronger, older, more experienced figures who understood power in ways she did not. Then, suddenly, everything changed. The throne became empty, and without warning, she was chosen to wear the crown. It was not because she was the strongest or the most prepared, but because there was no one else left. In that moment, her life changed forever, and the weight of an entire kingdom rested on someone who was still trying to understand herself. From the very beginning, doubt surrounded her like a shadow. The royal court did not believe in her abilities. The nobles whispered behind her back, and even the common people questioned whether she could lead them through difficult times. Every decision she made was judged, every mistake was noticed, and every silence was taken as weakness. She could feel the lack of trust in every room she entered. Conversations would stop when she arrived, and respect was given out of duty, not belief. It was clear to everyone around her that she was not expected to succeed. Many believed her rule would be short, and some were already planning for what would come after her fall. She was queen in title, but in reality she stood alone against a system that did not accept her. At first, the pressure was overwhelming. She made mistakes, just as anyone would in such a position. She trusted people she should not have trusted, followed advice that led to poor outcomes, and struggled to fully understand the complex world of leadership. Each mistake made her critics louder, and the whispers grew stronger. But instead of giving up, she chose a different path. She began to observe everything around her more carefully. She listened more than she spoke, learned from every situation, and slowly started to understand the true nature of power. She realized that leadership was not just about giving orders, it was about understanding people, making difficult choices, and standing strong even when no one else believed in you. Over time, her silence stopped being a sign of weakness and became a sign of growth. The kingdom itself was not in a stable condition. There were tensions between regions, dissatisfaction among the people, and hidden conflicts within the court. It didn't take long for these problems to grow into serious threats. Some areas began to resist her authority, and powerful figures within the kingdom started to challenge her rule. The situation became even more dangerous when betrayal came from someone close to her. A trusted advisor turned against her, sharing secrets and weakening the kingdom from within. This moment could have destroyed everything. The kingdom was at risk, and once again, people waited to see if she would fail. It seemed like the perfect storm: internal betrayal, external threats, and a ruler who was still being underestimated. But this time, she did not hesitate. She made a decision that surprised everyone. She acted with confidence and removed the traitor, even though it was risky and could have created more enemies. This was the first clear sign that she was changing. She was no longer the uncertain queen people had once seen. She was beginning to take control. After that moment, she started making stronger decisions. She surrounded herself with loyal people, worked to fix the problems in the kingdom, and slowly began to earn respect. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight, but the change was real. People started to see her differently, not just as someone weak, but as someone who was learning and growing into her role. Just as things began to improve, a new and greater danger appeared. An enemy kingdom saw an opportunity to attack. They believed the rumors about her weakness and thought her kingdom would be easy to defeat. Fear spread quickly among the people in the court. Advisors suggested making peace or even surrendering to avoid destruction. The army was unsure, and the situation looked hopeless. Once again, everything depended on her decision. This was the moment that would define her future. Instead of giving in to fear, she chose to fight.
It was a bold and dangerous choice, but it showed a level of courage that no one had expected from her. What made her decision even more powerful was how she chose to lead. She did not stay behind in the safety of the palace. She went to her army and stood in front of them. She spoke simply but honestly, reminding them of what they were fighting for: their homes, their families, and their future. Her words weren't perfect, but they were real. For the first time, the soldiers saw her not just as a queen, but as a leader. Her presence gave them strength, and her courage inspired them to believe that victory was possible. It was a turning point, not just for the battle, but for how people saw her. The battle that followed was one of the hardest moments in her life. It was long, difficult, and filled with uncertainty. There were times when defeat seemed close, and fear could have taken over, but she did not step back. She remained strong, encouraging her people, and standing firm even when the situation looked hopeless. Her determination spread through the army, giving them the strength to keep fighting. Slowly, the tide began to turn. The enemy started to lose their advantage, and hope returned to her people. In the end, they achieved victory. It wasn't just a win in battle, it was a transformation. The queen who had once been doubted had now proven her strength in the most powerful way possible. After the victory, everything changed. The people who once questioned her now respected her deeply. The nobles who had doubted her became loyal, and the army that had been unsure now trusted her completely. She had earned her place, not through her title, but through her actions. In the years that followed, she continued to rule with wisdom and strength. She worked to rebuild the kingdom, create peace, and improve the lives of her people. She became a symbol of resilience and courage, showing that true leadership is not about being perfect, but about never giving up. As time passed, her story spread far beyond her kingdom. People told stories about her journey from doubt to strength, from uncertainty to confidence. Her name became a symbol of courage, and her legacy inspired generations. She was no longer just a queen in history books. She became a legend. Her story proved that greatness is not something you are born with, but something you achieve through hard work, courage, and determination. She showed the world that even someone who is underestimated can rise to become unforgettable. In the end, what made her a legend was not the crown she wore, but the choices she made. She chose to learn when others doubted her, to stand strong when everything seemed to fall apart, and to fight when giving up would have been easier. Her journey was not easy, and it wasn't perfect, but it was real. And that's why her story continues to inspire. She started as someone no one believed in, but she refused to let that define her. She proved that strength comes from within, and the true leaders are made in the hardest moments. She was once just a queen until she became a legend.